I I think, oddly, this is one of the biggest games of Lamar's career.
Wow.
I actually have a list. Can we
Of the
just start
biggest
the
games
show
of his
off?
career?
Yeah. The single biggest game of Lamar's career is the one he just played. That one we all agree with. The AFC title game. That was the biggest game of his career. It's the furthest he'd ever been in the playoffs.
Statistically,
you're playing Mahomes, all of it. Okay.
Chance to go to the Super Bowl.
Right. Second biggest game of his career was the divisional round the year he won the MVP. That was his second playoff game, but his first playoff game is as, where he'd had the full season as a starter and where they were the huge favorite, expectation, unanimous MVP, and it was shocking that they lost that game. Absolutely shocking. It was the next biggest game of his career, I would argue, would have been the next year when he had another chance to get the AFC title game. And those are 3 playoff games. Those are 3 furthest he's ever been in the playoffs. Number 4 is this Thursday. Number 4 is Thursday night. Because the Chiefs have owned him. Because Patrick Mahomes has thoroughly outplayed him in every spot in his career. He's only played well against the Chiefs one time ever. And there is the real factors of, home field advantage. Starting the season anew, not being essentially 2 games back of Kansas City, all of that. So, yeah, I do think this is one of the biggest games of his career, and I think he absolutely has to play well. So, yes.
Yeah, I actually wholeheartedly agree with Nick Wright. This is one of the biggest games. I'm not going to try to rank them in terms of what are the biggest games. It's like, who cares, quite frankly. But this absolutely is a crucially important game for Lamar Jackson. It just is. And at this point, the truth is that he doesn't have an extensive playoff resume like a Patrick Mahomes. Because you could say, well, this is just a regular season game. Why does it matter? It's because that's the way how Lamar Jackson's career has unfolded. He hasn't played good enough and doesn't have enough playoff experience, for that matter, where we can say, yeah, this is just a regular season game, right? To Patrick Mahomes, this is another game. His resume is extensive, right? I mean, just how many Super Bowl appearances does he have? I mean, heck, does he have more Super Bowl appearances than Lamar Jackson has? Definitely more than just Lamar Jackson has playoff wins. So you can't compare it. So that's why you don't be so quick just to say, oh, well, this is just a regular season game. This is blown out of proportion. Because I really don't think it is. And the way how the season ended last season, that was supposed to be the Baltimore Ravens year. That was. They were considered to be the best team in the NFL with the MVP, Lamar Jackson. Their competitor, their best competitor, was supposed to be the 49ers, who made it to the Super Bowl. And the Ravens dominated that game on the road, if memory serves me correctly. Dominated. And not a lot of people saw that coming. They put the league on notice. And then they got beat by the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't want to unpack that game anymore. We don't have to give up the reasons why it happened, why it didn't happen. It doesn't matter. They lost. And Lamar Jackson did not play good enough. It's that plain and simple. And I've defended him a lot. I really have. But at the end of the day, he did not win that game. And he did not play good enough to win that game. Or at the very least, did not play good enough to overcome any of the other issues that his own team inflicted upon him. So just not good enough. If they lose this game, that just continues to let everyone know that the Ravens are not good enough. If they lose a close game, it's they can't win a close game. If they get beat by a good amount, 10 points, 14 points or more, it's the Ravens are nowhere near on the level of the Chiefs. And let's say they lose to the Chiefs, and I said this, I made a video, very similar points with regards to First Take. And where it's like, let's say they lose this game, but then they play great the rest of the season, and they're a top team in the NFL. Where's the confidence going to come that they can beat the Chiefs? You're not going to have that confidence. Some people will say, oh, this is going to be different. This is going to be different. But like, why? What would make it different? They have to establish that they are the better team. And they have to do it convincingly, quite frankly, the way how I see it. Because even if they just eke out a win, they win by 3 points. It's a hard-fought game. Yeah, it's impressive. It shows that they can win, but, like, I know they can win. I know if the Ravens played the Kansas City Chiefs in that AFC Championship game 3 times, if it was a best of 3, obviously he doesn't have, but if it was a best of 3, I believe the Ravens would have won at least one game. So they have to really establish themselves as the top team in the NFL, that Lamar Jackson is for real, that things have changed. Because that's the message that the Ravens are trying to sell this season. Things have changed. We were the better team last year. We had the better quarterback last year. The better offense, the better defense. We beat ourselves. We made our mistakes. We learned from those mistakes. Never again. Our failures end today. They have to establish that. I really believe that. I think plenty of great teams can lose week 1. Plenty. I think the Chiefs can lose week 1. I think the Eagles can lose week 1. I think the Packers can lose week 1. I think the 49ers can lose week 1. I think virtually every single team can lose week 1 except the Baltimore Ravens because of who they're playing more than anything. I think the Eagles, if they had to play the 49ers and they lost to week 1 and they got beat pretty good, then that would be pretty devastating for the Eagles. But since they're playing the Packers, it just hits differently. Granted, the Eagles will still have to potentially go through the Packers as well, but it's just different. I think the Chiefs, if they were playing the Bills, could lose to the Bills. The Bills, if they played the Chiefs, since they've beaten the Chiefs, I don't think it would be as important. It wouldn't be as much of an indicator. Especially because I don't think the Bills have as high as Super Bowl expectations as the Ravens. To me, for the Ravens and Lamar Jackson, it's like, get on with it. Because they haven't really been close to a Super Bowl. I understand they made it to the AFC conference game, so that feels like maybe they were close. But come on. They just weren't. When you see how that game unfolded, come on. There's a difference between a close game. You can look at a close game and say a team just won and a team just lost. So therefore it's a close game. But the reality is when you watch the Chiefs versus the Ravens, that whole game you're thinking, the Chiefs can lose this game, but they are in control. They are in control the whole game. Whereas you watch that game and you look at the Ravens and you say, the Ravens can win this game, but they are not in control. They are not in control. That's the difference. The Ravens need to show that they are in control and that they are in control consistently against the best teams in the NFL. And it starts with the Chiefs. So yeah, I really am in agreement with Nick Wright. Lamar Jackson absolutely needs to play great. And Lamar Jackson knows it, and the Ravens know it. This game right here sets the tone for weeks to come. Not until week 8, week 9, but it absolutely sets them. They come out with a win, it's, see, things are different. If they lose this game, it's, oh man, what are we going to do to get over this hump? How can we be better? How can we beat this team? So they really do. And even if someone like Lamar Jackson or Harbaugh or maybe some of these other top-level players can tell themselves, we got this, we can win, even if they lose, come time playoffs, there's enough players on that team that do not have the elite talent as a Lamar Jackson or the confidence of a Harbaugh, where they do need that encouragement. They do need that confidence. So a lot of the lower-level guys need to beat the Chiefs in order to believe that they can beat the Chiefs. I believe Lamar Jackson believes that he can beat anyone. I believe that Lamar Jackson believes that he's probably the best quarterback in the NFL. That's just what happens with these players. They have insane beliefs in themselves. But some of these other players, the players who most of you guys don't even know the names of them, their confidence wavers a lot more. A lot more. So a game like this matters just from the ground up more. Might not matter as much to a Lamar or a Harbaugh because they'll still believe it. They'll still believe it to their core. But the bottom of the roster, maybe not as much. So a win here would go a very, very, very long way. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think, one, this is one of Lamar's biggest games? And two, do you think Lamar Jackson and the Ravens need to play great and especially win this game? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.